It would take about 1 to 2 hours throughout the day just to screen and look through different news articles like CNN, CNBC.
Just run this dangerously, cowboy mode.
Oh,
And since we are talking about oil trading, I guess most of the cowboys will be listening.
one article is saying no vessels are passing through the strait at all. And then the second article is saying, oh, actually an Indian vessel passed through.
I think we are setting the new standard, right? Like Bryan's going to be the forerunner of what it means to be a market analyst in 2026. You'll make sure everyone is as good as you.
Crazy that they actually went through so many articles in just a few seconds. Yeah. And for me, it's like 1 hour max. I have to read like 5, 6, 7 articles.
Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome to the Code Riff podcast. I'm Eric, AI vibe coder. Along with me, we have Yao Hong, who is an AI orchestrator, and we have Bryan, who is an oil market analyst. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
All right, cool. And today we're going to be figuring out how to automate some part of the research process when it comes to reading the news, right? Bryan spends about 1 or 2 hours a day reading news and presenting that to traders, I think. So, Bryan, do you mind just sharing a bit more about what you do in a day and what we are hoping to solve today?
Okay, yeah, so for context, this part of my work is more consolidating data or news throughout the day, and presenting it in a concise manner to the traders. So as you had mentioned, it would take about 1 to 2 hours throughout the day just to screen and look through different news articles like CNN, CNBC, Reuters, or just across many news sites. So I think the nuance here is that some of these news articles are left-leaning or right-leaning, or they have very flashy headlines as well. And it's a bit difficult to look through the articles and sift out the facts in a nice, concise manners to the traders for them to make better trading decisions. So that's why I reached out for some help. Yeah.
In a way, it's similar to the ESG episode.
I think
Yes. Yeah, so if you haven't watched it, for those who are listening, our first episode was on scraping news headlines for an ESG analyst in a bank. And today's episode is a bit different in a sense that we do want to get into the details of the news. And there is sort of a sifting process behind that where do you mind explaining a bit more, Bryan, about the left/right leaning and maybe other factors that you're looking out for when you read a piece of news?
Okay, so perhaps on the point on left or right leaning, so some news sites or news articles like, for example, Fox or maybe CNN or CNBC, some of them are, catered towards like the political right in the US or the political left. So some of them, they have headlines that are quite biased or news, or the content might be biased. And I think other factors will include, for example, very flashy headlines, but the article might say otherwise, or there's some facts or very hard numbers in the articles that I would very much prefer to sift out over the headlines.
Yeah. So it's kind of stripping out the facts from the headlines, because sometimes headlines are for the clicks and the views.
Correct.
But you really just want the core hard facts that leads to something. Do you mind explaining what the facts usually leads to and how your thought process usually goes from the facts?
So after pulling out the facts throughout the day or throughout the past few days or the week, then it might be good or it might be nice for AI or to have this thing that we are building come up with a structured approach on what can happen to prices. So maybe an example would be, or very current example would be the Iran war or closure of the Hormuz Strait. So that is like a global oil choke point, which is 20% of global oil flows. So maybe a very brief example would be, okay, headline, war closure of Hormuz Strait. Then the impact would be, okay, then the Strait of Hormuz is closed. So what would that lead to? The impact would be supply from the Arab Gulf stops, and there's not enough supply to meet existing demand in Asia. Yeah. So the short term would be, so maybe there would be a short-term and long-term impact. So the short-term impact would be depletion of inventory, and then they would buy more from refineries in the West. And then in the long term, for example, it would incentivize refineries to increase production if the war persists. Yeah. So how that would maybe impact prices in the near term would be prices, because oil trades on a curve, right? They call it futures. So the prices now would be a lot more expensive than in the future, and that's called backwardation. Yeah, so I think that can be traded as well. Yeah. Or they can also trade like location spreads, like east-west. So for example, the prices in the east would be a lot more expensive than the west. So they trade that differential as well.
All right.
So in the process, do you have to analyze to that degree to provide to the traders, or do you just take out the facts and maybe some related facts?
Right now, it's just some related facts, but I'm just
hoping that eventually
hoping,
he can give you. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Makes
But
sense,
I think
makes sense,
for
yeah.
now, maybe if we are not so ambitious or something that is realistic, then the hard facts would be very good already. Yeah.
No, we should try. Provided that we have a certain structure, I think it's possible.
Yeah. All right. So we can do it a few ways. I see it as three main things. The first part is really just getting the news. Step 2 is sifting the information out according to the facts, and of course, maybe putting in some of the biases.
Yeah, remove the bias. Yeah.
The last stage is where you output it, or you do the scenario analysis. It's like three things you mentioned: the impact, the response, and the price of the event. And would the impact, response, and price be tied to one piece of fact, or would it be tied to one article usually?
Ideally, it would be across multiple pieces of facts across multiple articles. Yeah. Because not all articles hold the same facts.
There might be multiple facts in one article, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to start sharing my screen, and we are going to code today.
Nice.
Because I still think it's important for people to try to code their own stuff. Yahong, are you okay if I go dangerously, skip permissions, or
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You don't need to keep pressing enter.
Okay.
Anyway, it's not my laptop, so it's okay.
Okay, I am going to do this thing called dangerously skip positions.
For Bryan's benefit, right? So essentially, when you use Claude Code or Codex, this coding agents, usually we run them in a sandbox because they have a lot of permissions to do a lot of things, right? But you can actually pass in a command to say, just run this dangerously, cowboy mode.
Oh.
And since we are talking about oil trading, I guess most of the cowboys will be listening. Let's do it.
Yeah. So you could type Claude and then you type this thing, of course. And once again, we are using the more advanced version of Claude Code, which you can access starting from $30 Sing dollars. But so basically I have a command where when I press X, it helps me skip permissions. They call it an alias. So I am actually recording our conversation, and I'm going to copy what we just talked about.
Yeah. So for Bryan's sake, because Eric is trying to be lazy, doesn't want to type out whatever we talk about.
Oh, okay. So you just like copy and paste
you can copy and paste the conversation, and then throw in.
Actually, one thing I needed to do was to make it in plan mode. So I'm going to just stop this whole thing. And I'm going to copy this. This is a transcript of a user interview with an oil market analyst. Please plan out the approach and let's build. and then I will have the transcript below, and we'll let it run. So now it's just going to kind of spend a few minutes planning out how it's going to build it. But I think we gave it enough context to think about how it's going to approach it. Bryan, would you be able to share any articles that you have, just in case some of these articles are behind a paywall? Anyways, the plan right now is to build. Oh, you know what? I think it's actually reading some stuff from the episode 1.
Oh, that's pretty smart, actually. Yeah.
So
why not?
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
This is building on episode 1, so if you haven't watched that, please do. Then you'll get more context. So
that's very smart.
it's on fetching, classifying, generating, and
That's
delivering.
what happens when you do dangerously, man.
Yeah, we can read a lot of things on my computer.
Yeah.
So it's always good to sandbox, right? Which I'm actually not. But anyways, for you guys, I will risk my computer.
It's okay. Let's hope that it doesn't.
So what we're building, step 1 is to fetch oil news for those that are just listening. Stage 1 is to fetch oil news from Reuters, CNN. Stage 2 is to extract the facts. Stage 3 is scenario analysis. Then the output format would be a morning briefing and an evening update, which it did understand as well. And then in terms of the format, actually it's mentioning that it wants a Word doc.
Do you want a Word doc or do you want like Excel or something
Word doc
else?
would be nice, yeah.
Word. So there is actually a particular format that we want, right, Bryan? So
yes, correct.
But I think it's fine. We can do that later. Let's just proceed. I'm just going to clear context and bypass permissions so that we start building this.
Okay.
Everything was.
Let's see what they built.
So
they built a Python project, right? As configuration, with fetches. Okay, quite similar to what we did the first round with fetch and extract, right? But now we have a additional analyze path. Yeah.
Yep. So we do need to install requirements and then create an env file.
I think you need to do that in the file directory, not in this. Yeah. Claude, just open open.
So I just maybe go back here.
CD dash. Okay. Enter. You go back to your last known folder.
Okay. And then install requirements.
So we are, for Bryan's sake, we're just installing a bunch of stuff that you don't know what you're installing onto your computer to run your project.
Wow, there's so much stuff to download.
Yeah, because these are all libraries, open source libraries that people have created, and we are building on the shoulders of giants, right?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's how people build stuff these days. We've been installing things from the internet for the last I don't know how many years. Yeah. So there somewhere in the world there is this one small library that everybody references, which if it goes down, then half the internet will go down. Yeah, and it has happened before.
But then no one will add to the library anymore, right? Since with like
not really. I mean, people will maintain the existing libraries and all that, right? Because it's always been there.
I see.
And everything is open source, so it's pretty cool how things work. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so I'm just gonna paste my key into the .env file. But let me
please do not expose your key. Okay, so for Bryan's sake, these API keys are quite sensitive, and there are sniffers out there on the internet that looks for people who expose their keys, and then they get free access to your Anthropic or your Gemini account, and they can do crazy things.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so part of the security reason that we have to be a bit more careful, because some people, they save the keys into their repository, and then they put it on public access. Yeah, so it's not super dangerous. It's just be more careful. Yeah,
so it's sort of like a password, right? Like a key.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. So I just asked Claude Code to open the .env file for me to paste it in, paste the API key in. And then now I will say, okay, I have put it in. This is also an example gold standard output, which is based off this article that I will paste below. This is so that you would return the facts in this, or you would process the facts and return it in this format, which is what we call a scenario analysis, so that every fact that is retrieved from an article would be able to be returned in this format. Okay, hopefully that's clear enough. I'm just gonna paste the article below here, and then I am going to paste the picture of the ideal output that Bryan sent me, and then I will paste what I just said. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Okay, so it's probably going. I think it was already kind of done. We should have checked how it looked, but now we're just updating the scenario prompt.
Just assume that it's quite good.
Yeah, I think based on the previous episode, we saw it was decently, feasible.
Okay. Of course, in reality, we would spend more time on this.
Yeah.
Right? We would spend more time to make sure that whatever you put in is correct and what you intend it to be. Yeah.
Just from my understanding, right, this tokens thing that I see are sort of like the more tokens you use, the more you have to pay.
Yeah. If you're using the API. For now, because Eric's running it on the max plan, so he's paid a fixed fee for the month and they give you a set limit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately mine is almost 99% already. I hit my limit like 2 days into the second day of the week already. Right. I've been struggling for the last couple of days. Definitely tomorrow morning it resets. So it's a bit of a challenge. I need to definitely upgrade my plan to the $200 one.
Time to go for it. Okay, I'm just going to test this thing with the Python.
Okay, let's see what's happening here. That's very cool. Like Oil News Intelligence tool, maximum 8 articles. It's fetching the news now. Okay, see all the different news feeds that it's fetching from.
So interesting that it's in the terminal, as in no frills.
It's running a CLI tool, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I guess it's ironic that the UI UX now is going back to the terminal after decades of our graphical user interfaces. I mean, for someone like me, it's like, oh man, so like back to the roots. When we started playing computers, it was all black screens like this.
Yeah, and also because it's low latency, it's very fast. You can see whether you're getting what you need. Right? It has. So for those who are listening in, it already processed step 1, which was fetching the news, and it fetched about 748 articles. And then after deduplication, it's about 600 articles. Wow, I don't know if it's bluffing us. It sounds a bit crazy, but
I think maybe we forgot to put in a filter for the date to only process the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
maybe
so
now.
As we're reading this, I think we can start giving feedback, right?
Oh, it's filtering by 48 hours and it's
48 hours. Feel free to give feedback. We'll feed this back into the system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what's your feedback so far looking at this? Yeah.
Oh, I think it's quite crazy that they actually went through so many articles in just a few seconds. And for me, it's like 1 hour max. I have to read like 5, 6, 7 articles.
My job is at risk.
No, I think we are setting the new standard, right? Like Bryan's going to be the forerunner of what it means to be a market analyst in 2026. You'll make sure everyone is as good as you, lah. Hopefully you
hope so.
Like you probably will be able to figure something similar or even better because you know your process the best. You have your own data stored in your computer, right? So
yeah, that's true.
That's also So okay, maybe for those who are listening in, step 1, it fetched the news. Step 2, it extracted the facts from about 600 plus articles. Step 3, it ran the scenario analysis and grouped the facts by different events. Whatever that means.
Event groups, that's pretty interesting. So event group 1, Malaysia's Prime Minister's business dealings. Although I don't know how relevant that is to your work, but maybe we were too open-ended on the filtering part. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit broad, but perhaps we could narrow it to macroeconomics or geopolitics, and also just oil physical fundamentals like storages or oil flows, anything physical related to oil. Yeah.
Another thing was, were you okay with the 48 hours, or do you feel like it's too much?
Or maybe one day would be fine as
I think 24 will be 24 will be
24.
better. lah.
Yeah, let's do 24 hours.
Let's do 24. Yeah.
Any other feedback?
No more.
Okay. I'm gonna paste this in. Here's some feedback for you.
So friendly.
Thank you. Okay. So now it has done this file, which I will.
It's okay, we can read this file and see what happens.
I will find it in my desktop. Okay, so we have very weirdly written, but we have oil market intelligence briefing. 6 articles analyzed, 6 scenarios. Bryan, is there any event that you think this event is okay to read out?
Or maybe the Indian one.
Okay, the Indian one. Okay, so for India, I'm just gonna read out India's gas diversion measures. So it has a TLDR, which is the emergency gas diversion to priority sectors, is tightening domestic supply, likely boosting spot LNG demand and prices globally. So there's an impact on the supply, demand, trade flow, policy, infrastructure. It viewed it as a short-term response. I think it classified it as a short-term response.
Correct. Yeah.
And then the impact on prices, on the global LNG, spot prices, on Indian domestic gas prices, on diesel prices, and there's a confidence level which is medium as well.
Oh, that's quite a nice addition. Yeah.
So what's your thought on this?
I think it's pretty good, like the way that it actually knew how to separate or follow the format that I gave you, which is split into impact, response, and how the price reacted to the impact, which was also based on the facts from the article. Yeah, so it's very good in this part. But then I think it's a bit too broad. It's like anything energy, but I wanted more like flows or anything related to physical oil. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to copy that in. So I'm going to copy in your feedback as a prompt, which is how we want more physical. We want more physical oil. How do you say that again?
Flows, like FLOWS.
All flows.
Yeah.
More feedback for you.
Sorry, one more thing is macroeconomics and geopolitics.
Okay. Macroeconomics and geopolitics.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you also sent me 2 articles just now, right? Like,
correct.
Was that what you wanted, Bryan? Like, were those the articles you wanted to analyze, or like, were those the likes of? You wanted the likes of those, is it?
Yeah, correct. So maybe perhaps something similar.
These kind of topics, will you say that? Something similar. Okay. So yeah, for context, the 2 articles that I sent was, one of it was not a liter of oil to pass Strait of Hormuz, expect $200 price tag. And then the second article was first India-bound vessel to cross Hormuz amid crisis docked at Mumbai port. So I think this was what I was trying to explain in that the headlines are flashy. Like they're saying, one article is saying no vessels are passing through the strait at all. And then the second article is saying, actually an Indian vessel passed through. Yeah. So I think that was the nuance that I was trying to capture. I see. Okay, I'm just showing that on the screen now. Okay, 3 changes made. Okay, how do we test again? Okay, so caveat is that this is currently still a script that is running on my computer. right? So my computer basically needs to remain on for this to even run, and it's running in my terminal, which is obviously not what you want to be looking at, Bryan. So
Yes.
there is still probably a few, if not tens of hours more required to kind of make this production great, to be able to share with your team or be able to use with multiple people on it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
what we're doing now is just kind of showing that we can get to the value of what we are promising, or what we are talking about. Yeah.
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 It was really impressive that you could just pull out the facts lah, even if it was yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask for the command to run. So just run these commands again.
Short.
Short. What is short? I'm just gonna ask it. It's like
You
it's
could
like a
have,
tuition
you could
teacher.
have just read the code and not waste your tokens, my friend. Right?
That is true too. Yes.
Yeah.
I am at almost 40% now of the
That's
context window. So
Oh, that's
short
okay. Yeah.
limits it to 8 articles max. Medium is 20 articles. Long is all articles, no limit. I see. Interesting.
It's okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
Wait,
Let's see.
it fetched 1,000 articles now. Oh my gosh.
Because I think he expanded the stuff that he wants to look at. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So short.
Oh, you see, okay, let's, for those listening in, what's happening now. Right, first it has RSS feeds, which are all your news articles from different sources, right? Then it's fetching also from Google News RSS with specific keywords. So that's part 2, you see there, right? Fetching Google News physical flows, crude oil shipment tanker. Or then it has an oil cargo reroute shipping. So it's not, say, very smart, but pretty smart at the same time. Because you are just brute forcing all the different type of scenarios that can happen. See, there's even OPEC, Saudi Arabia, Russia oil. So if something happens outside of these keywords, then you will not pick up.
What do you think of that, Bryan?
Actually, I think this is actually what I want. Like, this is what we see on the daily
It's good
basis.
enough.
Yeah.
It's good enough to feel. It covers most of the things you see.
Yeah, correct. Like almost 80-90%. Yeah. The keywords that I just saw, it was also very relevant to what I try and sift out when I read through articles. Yeah.
No, but that's good. 90% is good for this 1 hour anyway.
Yeah, I think 90% is okay.
So
don't need to score 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So we fetched the news. Step 1, fetch the news. Step 2, extracted the facts from the articles. Step 3, we did a scenario analysis. And then step 4, generated the briefing, which I can find somewhere. Yeah. Oh, okay. Wait, did it just replace the previous?
Yeah, replace the old one.
Oh, but it's still South Korea. No, it's a bit weird. Oh,
South Korea come out again. Yeah,
Middle
investment
East.
bill. Yeah, probably thought it was quite.
But Middle East is not. India gas diversion, Cathay.
Oh, close this one again.
again.
Open again. Yeah, close. Oh, your API key. Return.
This is weird, actually. This is weird. Today at 10:22. Let me open it again. Okay, Middle East, India, South Korea, Pyongyang. Okay, so this is the new one. Yeah.
Oh, I think the first one is good. It's very targeted.
First one, okay, on Middle East. And what makes you say that?
Okay, so I think what we generally want to see would be some keywords like Middle East, which is where most of the oil exports are. Maybe 20% of the world's oil exports. We also like to see, for example, product grades. Instead of just oil, we want to see, for example, jet fuel or diesel. So I think very specific product grades would be very important for us as well. Yeah.
Which we have here, right? It's talking about jet fuel.
Correct. So that's what we have here.
Anything else when you read through this that you will improve on or that you think is good?
I think for now this is very good already, as in the fact that it can just scrape out the data from the articles. But I think it's still a little bit too broad also. But this first example, right, is perfect. Yeah. Middle East conflict impacts on jet fuel. Yeah.
Yeah. Source wise, it's not really showing the source, right?
Yeah, some bug there.
Yeah. So I think that's
Supporting
one thing to
facts,
improve on. It doesn't show the sources. So actually, I don't even know whether this is good, but you probably know because you might have read this already, right?
Yeah, I think I read this somewhere before. Jet fuel prices actually shot up. Because of the conflict.
Yeah. So I know we have maybe like 10-ish minutes. I think what we could do to wrap it up, maybe is just to talk about how the sources are not showing up clearly.
And then you give an example of what's the wrong thing that is showing. Okay.
So not showing up clearly in the event analysis. Example
so for this kind of things, we sometimes need to be a bit more pointed so it doesn't go around wasting your tokens searching for things.
Yeah. And then, because we also want this to be kind of usable, right? So I'm going to prompt. Today, we were really trying to see whether it could copy the thought process when it comes to, looking through articles. And actually behind this thought process, there might have even been a prompt, right?
Can we go to analyze.py on the left side in the code? Take a look at that.
Analyze.py. So as you can see, there is a few prompts here already, right? You can see that.
So it's running through Gemini to analyze the news as a oil analyst. Yeah. Then group the facts, sources. Okay, down. Right. So this is why it appears in the format that we talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see, we give it quite good. So if you want to make changes, you edit the instructions here.
Well, I think for a very brief evaluation of an article is already very good. Yeah. I will take some time to think about it also. This is like immediate.
Correct. Yeah. And in fact, the confidence seems a bit iffy to me. Because you ask the model to come out with a high, medium, low, but you don't give it what it means to be high, medium, low. Then you will definitely hallucinate there.
Yeah. So here's where you would actually manually go in, and it would be very valuable to type in what a high thing would look like, and then when it comes to, of course, you might change your thought process someday.
Correct.
Whether you want it to be a 3-part framework of impact, response, and price. So here's where you would really want to inspect and be very careful about how the system is creating its own prompt, which is fantastic because 1 year ago, putting prompt pipelines together was very, very difficult to do with just vibe coding.
Not even 1 year ago, just a couple of months ago.
Or doing this kind of prompt pipelines are actually quite tough to do.
We spend a lot of time working on the prompts. Last year we were working on some projects, and most of the time was spent trying to tweak the prompt to give us certain output. Because the LM is just not behaving, and now it's like literally we didn't do anything, and
we were just talking.
There. Exactly. Yeah. So I also have no job so I don't know. That's why I'm on a podcast, hoping to become a full-time comedian or something.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Bryan, I can share this, share all the code that we made with you.
Yeah,
and then
you
can kind of figure out how to
so you need to first get a Claude subscription, the $30 one. Ask it to explain to you how this works, how to install this thing.
Or you could just use your $30 ChatGPT
or $30 ChatGPT also,
and then just ask how do I run this Python script, and then how do I put in my API key, and how do I do that safely, because you don't want it to be leaked. Yeah. So I think that's how you could theoretically take it forward from there. And then, of course, you could also play around with Claude Code as well. So I just wanted to conclude this with a mermaid flowchart, which I find quite helpful in just understanding, the flow of data sometimes. Sometimes it gets very complicated, so I'm not sure whether this will be hard to understand. So maybe Yao Hong, if you don't mind just explaining this briefly.
All right, so this explains the code, how the code works. Right. So earlier we talked about Google News, RSS feeds, the few sources we have are Reuters Energy, Reuters Commodities, etc. If filter and dedupe. Okay, so dedupe is short form for dedupe because a lot of the headlines repeat again. Right. So you need a step to clean up. So in the last 24-hour, I assume that it just filters by that, and they use title similarity with an 80% threshold. So how similar are they? In terms of the title, right? And from here, Gemini would extract them with the hard facts only, right? With some guidelines on the claims, the source bias label. I don't know what that means actually. So you see price and cost. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, and then it goes
and finally,
into
they analyze the prompt that we saw earlier. So this is actually quite helpful for someone who doesn't really understand code, right? You can kind of visualize what's happening at each step.
Yeah, and I think that's still quite important, right? Because
it's very important, not quite
you
important.
don't want to just like
Blindly
rely
accept,
on the system, blindly accept things without knowing how it works or without even seeing the prompt that is going on behind it. So I thought it was just good to end off with this. So
Nice. So there's like a very nice this is like sort of a mind map, right?
yeah,
correct.
it is.
On how the code works.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So there.
So at least you can explain to your boss.
Or like why I did this.
Yeah. How each step works, right? And you yourself sound so much smarter.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is the new skill, right? To be able to orchestrate, like, or to be able to picture what the flows look like. But maybe I'll just stop sharing my screen. So maybe, Bryan, we had 1 hour just kind of jamming on this. It was quite unconventional from our past 2 episodes because we skipped a lot of permissions.
And we just jump right straight without really planning.
And maybe to caveat, like, that requires some experience. You wouldn't jump straight to dangerously skipping permissions on your first day of like vibe coding. But maybe Bryan, if there's any reflections on what you saw so far that you didn't manage to mention just now.
I think overall it was very good. Genuinely, I thought it wouldn't work, but then like in such a short span of time, they managed to scrape out so many news articles, like hundreds over, and from there pull out actual hard facts, and from there also draw a conclusion. So I believe this was also quite different from the previous 2 episodes, right? So I think that was very interesting, and I'll definitely take a look and try on my end also. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Hong, anything you would like to close with?
There are quite a lot of few things that I would improve in the process for scoring and evaluation, which we didn't get time to go through. That makes the difference between vibe coding and actually making something in production. Yeah. But it's okay. 1 hour quite short, but
so
we got pretty far already. Yeah.
Maybe if we had like another half an hour, right? Like like the evaluation process that Hong's talking about.
Correct.
Do you mind sharing a bit how that time would look like in terms of
how that time will look like? We will probably get one of those or a few out of those articles and give it more quantitative in terms of how it calculates the scoring. And also like specifically which part of the text that we want to see, right? And then using those evals, we run the model through it and say, okay, this is the output that we want. So in case you make any changes prior to the steps, that you should actually still come back to the output that we desire. So it's a bit more involved and maybe too advanced for beginner, but so maybe not the right thing to do. Just tell people that there's a possibility.
We'll get there. If you didn't catch that, it's just realizing that I think a lot of the outputs that AI will produce will take days, if not weeks, if not even months, to improve sometimes. Maybe this one would lie on the shorter time frame, but you would not immediately trust everything. I mean, you will be extremely skeptical until you do enough kind of evaluations and test that, the outputs are actually something you could trust, and then you could go and have fun with the extra time you have.
Trying to tweak your models.
Yeah.
There's so much more to be done actually.
Yeah. But anyways, Bryan, I'll send over the files, of course. Sorry we didn't get to do a bot, but I think the purpose was quite different today. We basically tried to see if we could build something that replicated the way that you would analyze news articles. So it seems like it performed pretty up to expectations, if not maybe a bit more.
I will give it a 6 out of 10. Just pass.
I think 8 lah. 8.
Oh yeah, so nice, right? Uncle more demanding.
Yeah, but thanks so much for joining us, Bryan.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for helping also.
Yeah. All good. Cool. And have a good evening.
Hey, you too.
All right. See ya.
See you.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode. If you found this helpful, feel free to leave us a rating on your favorite podcasting apps, or like, share, subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to get into the next episode, feel free to fill out the form as well. So thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate that you even made it to the end. And see you on our next episode. Bye.